Diddly-diddly-diddly-diddly-doo. And we're back. Welcome to Super BS. My name is Brank, and this is...
Jank.
And this is...
Tired.
Dank! You should have said your name was Dank. Okay, Brank, Jank, and Dank on the Super BS Weekly Show. We're here to talk about games, friends, and love, but not about games.
Not about games.
Speaking of our daily, weekly, most important thing ever, any new
Chris
movies?
Cornell died today.
Oh wow! Don't bring that up. That's so sad. That sucks. We read about that, and it was
it does.
what?
He hung himself, but do you know?
No, he didn't hang himself. They said they found him on the bathroom floor with something around his neck, but nothing on the ceiling.
They said they tested it, the coroner's report said that he hung himself.
There's not a coroner's report.
Not yet. No.
Okay,
They said they just found him, and it looked like it was suicide.
It's just like an article.
We're here to talk about life and how fleeting it is.
Yeah.
But no, you guys excited for any movies this summer?
Ooh, dude, I'm seeing Alien Covenant tonight.
It comes out?
Yeah.
Tomorrow.
Comes out tomorrow.
Okay. That'll be cool. What about you?
Guardians of the Galaxy 2. It's great.
Sucked, right? Worst movie ever. Guardians of the Galaxy.
I saw King Arthur last week.
That looked really bad. How was it?
I liked it.
Really? I mean, I would watch it on Netflix.
The Guy Ritchie.
Guy Ritchie.
What did he do again?
Snatch and a lot of those movies. Yeah. I actually like most of his other movies.
Think of like a fantasy epic
Lord of the
film
Rings.
like Snatch.
Okay.
And that's, you get King Arthur.
Fantasy epic like Snatch.
See, but this is my thing. All these critics are like, oh, it's garbage, I hate this movie. But they went into it wanting to hate it. That's just a fantasy movies in general. Now, Warcraft, the same thing, except that it made its money back in China.
Yeah.
People are going into these movies wanting to hate them. And I came out and I was like,
I actually enjoyed Warcraft.
Hey, that was good. But you have Metacritic, Rotten Tomato, whatever. The amount of regular folks going in to see these movies aren't being outweighed by the 3 or 4 reviewers.
Well,
this movie's garbage.
Sadly for King Arthur, the amount of regular folks going to that movie was very, very low because it was below the. Dude, who's that really annoying female comedian? The blonde-haired one that's in everything.
Amy Schumer.
Yeah, her movie.
But dude,
her
honestly,
movie was too. And
let's think about this. Releasing it in the shadow of Guardians of the Galaxy was the stupidest idea that they could have possibly.
I want to go see it eventually because I'm a pretty big fan of King Arthur lore, but I don't have expectations of it being great.
Yeah. It's entertaining.
I like the old King Arthur.
Knightley one.
I actually liked that one. I mean, it was dumb, but I did like it because it was all the dudes fighting.
I've reached the point now where I go to movies to be entertained. I don't have expectations for them. I just go in, either it's good or it's bad to me.
Yeah.
I'm gonna point over here. Then you need to put a sign that says "dumb idiot."
I heard it's I heard it's supposed to be it's funny, right?
It's funny.
Probably Guy Ritchie movies are normally pretty.
It's got some epic parts to it, but it's funny, and the sound editing's really good.
Okay,
I wasn't sure. I go to movies for sound editing.
I was expecting it to be still on the post Christopher Nolan movie trend of everything's got to be really gritty and serious.
I think it is gritty looking. That's what.
Yeah, it's not
here's the real origin story.
Yeah, it's not like Princess Bride or anything where it's funny, but it's just done that period. But it has the gritty.
Well, you're saying it's not a Princess Bride sequel?
I'm sorry,
I don't want to see
Princess
this.
Bride too, but it's got your gritty stuff, but it's just it's funny. They throw that Guy Ritchie humor into it.
So speaking of King Arthur, Dank, what have you been playing this week?
Shadows of Mordor.
Same thing, right?
I finished Trespasser from Dragon Age, which was great. Really excited for whatever they do next. Hopefully they announce something this year.
E3's coming up.
So, yeah. I would be surprised if they didn't, especially after Andromeda.
Yeah, they need to do something. All they have is Madden in their release docket.
I'm talking about BioWare, not EA, but EA.
EA as a company, they have to release games, so they have Madden and Battlefront.
But yeah, it was great. There's definitely some really interesting implications going forward for the universe and the story. I would love for the next Dragon Age to be insanely complex and also be the last Dragon Age period.
That'd be cool. And then they can move on and do
the last in this timeline. Do maybe sprint ahead a couple hundred years or something. Come up with a new era. That kind of bit would be cool. But as far as this tale starting with Dragon Age 1, because this is all within a 10-year span.
Oh, got it. Okay, so it's all on the same timeline.
Yeah, you're playing. There's characters that are in all of the games so far, and There's a lot, like everything is really densely tied in, so your decisions have like a lot of branching effects. So it would be great if they made the next Dragon Age a game where they really like made your world decisions have like a huge impact on the game. And from the beginning of the game, not halfway through, but from the beginning of the game, you have a different playthrough, you know, based on your decisions.
Yeah.
That would, and then they just made it, they just went all out. And then they were like, this is the end of this story, like in the Dragon Age universe.
Yeah, I think Dragon Age could be done. Like, I think that's something that EA, well, probably BioWare, but EA is a big, like, they're really afraid of doing, is closing off things that are profitable, like everybody is. And they saw that with Mass Effect. Like, sometimes it's better just to stop things, you know, like, than to, like, keep trying to
fair, Mass Effect, while it was a flop, is also takes place in another galaxy, different timeline. Like, there's not...
But they could have just made a totally different game. Like, I don't think anybody was like, man, I gotta get that other sci-fi RPG. If they could have made, like... You remember Alpha Protocol?
Yeah.
That's a game, like, I've always wanted to play, but it was so buggy that I'm, like, don't want to play it. But the idea of, like, a spy RPG was just cool, you know?
Yeah,
like,
but there's not... Like, to assume that you can create, like, a whole nother universe that and have it be good, especially when the creative talent of BioWare is not really there anymore. Like the people that actually founded Mass Effect's universe, like that wrote the lore books for it, like they're not there.
But even though the lore is like good and set in stone, like as we saw with Mass Effect, when the characters aren't good and nothing matters, like they could have just left Mass Effect alone.
I'm on the fence about that because I think that if you were to ask gamers if they would rather just have them stop making Mass Effect games or if they would want to return to that universe, they would all want. Because when think about it, when Mass Effect,
but if we listen to everything gamers wanted to do, then Call of Duty would probably be the only game coming out.
Though.
Yeah,
that's the market. But think about this: when Mass Effect Andromeda was originally announced, people were stoked on it. Like.
Yeah, because everybody thought it was going to be a good game. Well, like, they could have literally tried to make something a lot smaller.
I think that the negative reviews are way over.
I've played some of it. It's not very fun. Like, it moves fine. It's, like, very fast and fluid. But, like, I played probably the first 30 minutes of the game. I have not wanted to play it. I'm trying to get past the opening because you can't save your game. You got to keep walking down this narrow path where it's like, oh, there's guys that come out, shoot them. Go to the place. There's guys that come out, shoot them. You wait for the guys to drop from the dropship. There's guys that come out, shoot them. I mean, it's pretty much like they tried making Halo in a third-person RPG shooter, and then they made Halo like fundamentally not very interesting or exciting.
Yeah, but
that's what it felt like. I was playing the exact same Halo 1 mission, the second level. You know, where you come and there's guys dropping out from the dropship, but it's just like, oh, this doesn't control nearly as well. So why am I playing this? Like. I've got Prey and I got all these other games. But anyways, continue.
But so Zelda always takes place in some distant timeline in the same Hyrule or within the split timelines. Like, you're not asking Nintendo, like, why would they make a new Zelda? They should just make a brand new IP. Like, why don't they do that?
I just think BioWare, a company that used to be known for making new IPs, that now is stuck on this trend of we only make 2 IPs now. Mass Effect and Dragon Age. Yeah.
Does Zelda and Link ever, like, is there any, like, romance
between them? Depending on the game. Because it's always,
sometimes they're like just friends and sometimes
okay, because I feel like I'm playing through Breath of the Wild and there's a lot of
but don't
sexual frustration.
Don't expect anything like really.
I mean, it's
defined.
a Nintendo game. It's not gonna be like and here's the scene like from Mass Effect that gets us there.
What I'm saying is that I think Thetis, the Dragon Age world, is good enough that if they skipped ahead 500 years, didn't have any like tie-ins to the old, but it was still the same like basic universe, like I would be fine with that.
Yeah, and that'd be cool. I just would love it if they maybe gave it a rest for a good long time and hey, let's make a new thing.
That's what I'm saying. I'm saying though, it would be great if like I would be fine with that, but I would also be totally fine if this was the last Dragon Age, the next one that comes out, and they're like, this is it.
But at the same time, we need to take a lesson from Duke Nukem. If you're going to sit on a property for too long,
then they should have never released another Duke Nukem.
You can sit on it, but don't sit on it to the point where people lose interest in the property.
Okay, yeah, they could have never released another Duke Nukem, and nobody would have been crying a river.
Yeah, exactly.
They should have.
Yeah, but Duke Nukem is not a good property.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, but still, though, like, the idea is, like, okay, a good example would be if the new Doom would have sucked, they could have never released another Doom, and that would have been fine. Thankfully, it was good. So what Duke Nukem was is they didn't have a good game, but they had Duke Nukem. They wanted to make Duke Nukem. That's why he's
you're
in Bulletstorm.
comparing like Star Wars to Steven Seagal movies.
I'm just saying
You're
though.
saying like, oh, the big problem with Steven Seagal movies is that he stopped making them for too long.
Yeah.
But if he had never stopped, he would always be cool. The same versus Star Wars, where it's like, yeah, it's very different.
Yeah, it's,
like Legacy.
there's just some things that, like, if they just keep returning to that, as we saw with Guitar Hero and as we're seeing with Call of Duty, they're just going to lose sales, burn out the properties, and then what? We're going to get, like, a bunch of Steam games that no one can play unless they have a PC because everybody in the console space is afraid of taking risks. At some point, we need risks. I can't play Halo 10 in, 8 years down the road. Like, there needs to be new things.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. I think ultimately we're going to see a shift in, like, I still think, like, more and more indie games are going to become more and more compelling because they're going to be shorter, more direct, like, more intentional experiences. And, like, we already see that. Games like Hyper Light Drifter and, like, all that kind of stuff. Like, I'm playing Salt and Sanctuary is really awesome.
Think about it, too. Like, indie developers, like, the tech that they're using is, like, getting close to...
Yeah, I mean, and for me, I'm rarely blown away by. Wow.
That's hard.
It's
early.
Yeah. I'm rarely blown away by graphics. Like, I think Hyper Light Drifter looks way cooler than, like, any advanced looking Call of Duty graphics or whatever the powerhouse games are, like Forza,
and Battlefield 1,
and I'm not saying that I don't appreciate that those games look cool, but I'm not driven to play them at all. Witcher's maybe an exception, but for the most part, like, graphics don't really mean anything to me. As far as how they dictate experiences.
That's why none of us own the PS4 Pro, and, like, the only thing that interests me about the Scorpio is hopefully faster load times and better frames for, like, the games that I already have.
It's hard with photorealism graphics. We're hitting that uncanny valley where the game is either really great looking but runs bad, or is like not quite good looking enough. Where it's like, so with graphics that go for that's always a struggle. So you do need a high end. But with, like, an art art direction style game, like, the bar is wherever the game, like, it's not the same thing. So I think it's probably time anyway for companies like BioWare to, like, go the way of the dodo. And same with, like, I think unless they do something like In Exile or Obsidian where they take themselves, like, they take their company into their own hands, they, like, go back to making quality experiences that aren't dictated by corporations. Like, they can probably continue to, like, go after their former glories and make, like, actually great RPGs. But now they're doing, like, a Destiny whatever game, like a live service game.
Well,
like,
EA doesn't have one, and Activision has one, and it makes a lot of money. So
what that new IP is?
It's supposed to be Dylan. That's what they're talking about.
Yeah.
But anyways,
I'd be so surprised if someone, like, the most creative, like, forward-thinking talent at BioWare sat down and was like, man, I really, like, feel artistically inspired to make a live service game. Like, I don't think that happened. I'm pretty sure EA was like, hey, you need to make one of these. Like,
it's the problem with games having to make money when you got big companies behind it. But anyways, I want to talk about, you played another game this week, not just Dragon Age. I want to briefly talk about that.
Oh, Shadow of Mordor, yeah.
Yeah, what do you think about
fun. It's great.
That came out same year as Dragon Age, so you're
playing my old
2014.
I know.
What do you like about the game? I just want to go over quick. I love that game. Did you get a chance to play it?
I played it.
I really liked it.
It's fun. I love exploring Mordor, or the outskirts of Mordor. And killing Uruks is super fun. The upgrading tree and all that kind of stuff is cool, but not super in depth, which is nice.
Yeah.
I sometimes prefer to have something more straightforward. Like, I don't review every game in my head as intentionally the same experience. Like, well, this game, wasn't an RPG, but it wasn't RPG enough for me. So, like,
what do you think of the Nemesis system?
So far, I've only died.
I hated it.
You hated the Nemesis system. I thought it was cool.
I hated it. Just because there's some like people like if you
Did you suck at it?
I sucked at it, and I had these guys. They literally killed me probably like 5 or 6 times before I was finally able to like sit there for 30 minutes and try to kill them. But
once you get like the right abilities, though,
I'm sure
quick.
it gets better like as you get better stuff. But like, dude, when you're first starting out, that Nemesis system is such a pain in the butt.
Oh man, I've only died once, so I only have one.
I kind of like the Nemesis system. I think it's fun. Go through the ranks.
My favorite thing is like running around and accidentally fighting captains and winning. So
yeah, it's cool. And they drop stuff. I think they drop like loot, right?
Runes
that you put in,
stuff,
runes and weapons.
I think it's great. It reminds me of like the stealth bits are fun, kind of. And the map is not overwhelming. So it reminds me of like Assassin's Creed 1 or 2 before the series became Assassin's Creed. Emphasis on the ass.
Yeah. Ass.
But assassins. But plus I just like, I don't really care about Rome or ancient Egypt, but I love Middle Earth.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the same reason. I know you're saying it's a lot like the Batman games.
Batman is great.
I'm just not interested in playing them as like...
I know you're not. You should play the new one, though. Yeah. I mean, you should play the other ones to get to the new one, but the new one was great.
The last 3 that came out, you like the newest one the best?
Probably, yeah. You didn't like the newest one? Are you joking?
If I were to rank them, that would be my...
So I assume it's 1 first, because that's everybody's favorite.
I like 1, 2,
and then 2, 3?
I didn't like 3 that much.
I loved 3, so maybe I'd go...
There's too much to do.
So...
Okay, I mean, there's a lot of the side quests are really fun where you go fight supervillains. Anyways, let's wrap up Mordor, because I want to hear what you've been playing, Jake.
Yeah. Point being is that I'm not super interested in Batman as like an IP, so there's not really a lot of impetus for me to play that game when there's so many games that require so much time.
You'll find it for like $10 on sale on one of these sales. You should pick it up then and try it. Try it at least, because $10 is nothing.
But like I have the first 2, and I don't know.
Oh, the Arkham games?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
When did you get them? On like sale or something?
Yeah, on sale. But...
Oh, okay. I don't think they'll ever put those backwards compatible because they re-released them to make more money.
Didn't they?
Yeah, Batman Arkham Origins.
It's a collection, right? That's on.
But they don't have them backwards. A lot of the companies who release their own games don't put them backwards compatible, or they do really late, like Borderlands. Borderlands made a thing. Collection. But anything else you want to add to Mordor before we figure out what?
No, it's fine. I think the Nemesis system is cool. I know that it's supposed to be a lot more in depth.
At the very end, it gets a lot more in depth. Like the second map, I don't want to say more than that, is really, really cool. That's why, like the first map, I played it, and you play probably about 5 to 10 hours on the first map, and you're like, oh man, because the scenery kind of gets boring after a while. It's Mordor, it's dirt, and some of the castles are cool to climb around. But the second map is really, really, really cool, and you've probably seen pictures of it. It's just a really cool place.
Yeah, so it's pretty cool. I know that it was supposedly supposed to be more in depth, but it was gimped for the previous generation
for 360 and PS3. Yeah. Man, those versions look so bad.
Yeah, but so I'm excited for the new one.
Yeah, Shadow of War, August. I'm hoping it's great. I am a little concerned because I know it's focusing on like taking over other people's castles now, but some of it looks really cool. Like, I don't know if you guys saw the recent trailer they released this week, but it's like you have like this giant ogre walk with you and like throw stuff. It could be really cool. It could also just suck because that's how I felt about Shadow of Mordor. Like I was so on the fence, and when everybody's like, hey, it's actually really good, I was like, I need to play this. It's 2014. There are no good games. Let me play something. Because that was even before Sunset Overdrive.
That's the reason I bought it. I just needed something to play.
Yeah, that was like the new generation was still... That year saw Dragon Age. It saw a bunch of great games, but all of them came at like... Shadow of Mordor started, then you had Sunset Overdrive, a bunch of other stuff.
Right.
What have you been playing this week, Jake?
Breath of the Wild. I took a break.
Took a breath?
I took a breath. Took a wild breath. And... took a few days off of playing video games and then went back to Zelda, and I'm digging it, man. I think originally I got burnt out because I was doing like the Korok seeds and the shrines, and the shrines aren't repetitive, but just going through and trying to find all this stuff.
Yeah, trying to find them.
It's just like I just lost interest for a bit, and then finally
you have a shrine navigator. You know how to use that, right?
Yeah, no, I do. But I mean, like doing the Korok seeds, like I wasn't doing anything that was like mentally stimulating.
Yeah,
I was just
well,
kinda,
Korok
like,
seeds you
sitting
can't
there.
find. You should just play the game and find them as you go.
Oh, I was using the guide online too.
Oh my goodness, you are playing this game wrong.
Because
I hate that idea,
like,
but like that's.
I was like,
game you should
I've
play
been
with
playing
that.
this for so long. I just want to beat it, and then I lost track of like wanting to have fun with it. So I got back on this week, and I've been having fun with it. I finally beat the first divine beast.
Okay, which one? The elephant?
The elephant.
Okay, good.
And I
That's
got
the
the
one.
sword, so I'm gonna jump into it probably later today, and maybe do a little more story stuff.
Anything else you touched?
No.
Okay, well then I'll talk for a little bit. I did play a couple games. I think I turned on Persona. I don't remember. It's not been like
How
dragging
is
me
that?
back.
Okay, if when I'm done with Zelda, if I were to say,
I would
hey,
not pick up Persona
I want-
next.
Okay.
It's just a hard game to go from. It's like, oh, hey, here's a really, really long game that's actually fun, lets you do stuff. Hey, here's a really, really long game that's really story-based JRPG where the story's semi-interesting, but it's a lot of, like, you have to read text and continue to prompt, and you're going to be stuck playing for about 40 minutes to an hour without a save point. It is a game that is not made for people our age. It is made for someone in high school or somebody who has nothing at all to do and just like wants to put 100 hours into a game.
That's what I
100 to
hear.
120.
I hear it's fun, but it's just it's a grind.
It's also made for people in high school because it's about high schoolers. So
It's so I turned that on.
Persona 6 will be about millennials
Yeah.
into their 30s.
As I mentioned, there was a sale, so Mass Effect Andromeda. I happened to game share with my brother-in-law, so he bought Mass Effect. I played it for about 5 minutes. I got through a couple battles, realized I didn't want to play it, so I shut it off.
So you kept playing it.
Try more later.
Play it tonight.
Yeah, exactly what he said. But really what I've been mainly playing and trying to wrap up is Prey. It is so much fun and so cool. Honestly, if it was called like BioShock Space, which is pretty much what it is, then I think like way more people would have jumped on it because that is the exact game it is. The only negative I have to say is the load times are long, 45 seconds to a minute between each like zone, and you travel at where I am, which is I think nearing the end. I'm about 15, 16 hours in. You travel between zones a lot, so the load times are making it so the game's less fun to play because I'm literally sitting there for 45 seconds to a minute just doing nothing. And like I said, there's a lot of I said this last week, a lot of ammo scarcity. So even though I can craft stuff, I'm going back to a place where I already grabbed all of the items, so I can't craft anything anymore. So most battles I have to run away from because I can't win. Even though
Do you know what I love about those games?
What?
When you're playing them, there's always something happening in the background. Like you walk by a window and there's some dude just getting messed up in the background by like a monster.
That's at the beginning. The game changes a lot. It is very similar to BioShock Infinite in that regard, where like the beginning of BioShock Infinite, you're in like this really cool world and you're like, whoa, this is awesome. And then the game does become a lot more of like okay, this is a game. There's not going to be tons of random NPCs plus, enemies. There's mainly enemies. But yeah, I could talk about it a lot longer. I think I'll end there because I haven't finished it. Hopefully by next week or the week after I'll have finished it. But yeah, let's take a real quick break, and then we're going to come back and talk about some of the news real fast.
Yeah.
Badooch.
If you're tired of sifting through flea markets for rare and unique games, we can help. Retro City Games in Henderson, Nevada, only 5 minutes from the Las Vegas Strip, has all your favorite gaming staples, classics, and a wide selection of rare games with new stuff always appearing on our shelves. Come in and chat with Nicole or Doug about your love of games and watch as they help you complete your collection or find your childhood favorite. And don't forget, Retro City Games loves trade-ins. So if you have any Nintendo, Super Nintendo, Sega, Xbox, PlayStation, or even PC games, come in and visit Retro City Games today. Welcome to the new metropolis of gaming, Retro City Games.
That's the back end.
Oh, hey, we're back. Good news, guys. They just announced today that Microsoft has renewed the trademark for Scalebound.
No, they didn't. They announced
they
that they got rid of the trademark for
No,
Scalebound.
they said they renewed it.
Really?
Yeah, on IGN.
Can one other person verify this? Because I thought I read that exact article, and I thought it said that
IGN.
Microsoft removed the trade.
No, it said they renewed it. Unless I was reading it wrong.
I think you were reading it wrong. Sorry, this is a phone break.
We're fact checking.
We gotta fact check this.
Fact check.
Our big news story of the hour is potentially false.
Fact checking.
Oh, what? You're right. Microsoft renews
Boom.
trademark
Yeah.
for canceled game Scalebound. What on earth?
So what does this mean? What does
I
it mean?
guess it
What
means
does it
that
mean? Are
they're
we gonna
probably
see
going to make
Scalebound?
a different game called Scalebound.
Scalebound Fable coming soon.
Yeah, that is a game series. I don't want to delve too much into E3 because we got a lot of little things to talk about, not a lot of time. But Fable, that's a game I would love to see at E3. I would love to see another non-weird, strange, just normal Fable
They
game.
had plans, like Peter Molyneux. Well, how do you pronounce his last name?
Molyneux. But it doesn't matter. He's gone. He's with his
gone,
own
but
thing.
he said the
Cams.
studio had plans for Fable 5, and it's supposed to take place
Fable 4.
Fable 4, and it's supposed to take place in like the steampunk type era.
That's kind of how they all were, is they had like guns and
Yeah.
stuff.
I just didn't. If it surfaces, I just hope that's not like Dishonored. You know, we have that type of game.
It wouldn't be like Dishonored ever.
Yeah.
Because Dishonored's a first-person game and stealth.
But
and
I
Fable
mean,
has
just
nothing
I'm
to
talking
do
about
with-
like the world that it exists in.
And did you play
Fable-
Fable 3 though? That's the
did.
same. That's
yeah,
like
it's pretty similar.
it's gonna be like there's gonna be guns.
I just
and
heard, is
swords.
Fable 3 the one where you're on the prison island? Is that the?
You go through when you're talking about leveling up. You go through gates and unlock treasure chests.
But there's like a prison that you get sent to in the very end of the game. Is that Fable 3?
I didn't beat Fable 3. Fable
No,
3 is
I
where you
think
become
so.
king.
Spoiler, sorry.
Fable 3 is where you become king, like halfway into the game.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't know.
I beat Fable 3.
I didn't beat Fable 3. I beat original Fable, which would be awesome to have backwards compatible, and Fable 2.
As long as you can still kick chickens, I'll play it.
I love the Fable games. I would like to see that talked about. But actually, there's a ton of really cool little things that were brought up today. Did either of you guys get a chance to watch the Destiny 2 live event this morning?
No.
Did either of you play Destiny?
It was my destiny to miss it
Badoosh.
because I do not care.
Yeah, Destiny.
I would play it if it wasn't a MMO. I'm just not interested.
I mean, the main game you can play like a normal single player. That's how I played it.
I hate grinding loot.
Well, yeah, the main game you don't need to play for like the loot. That's it if you want to just keep playing. But I totally agree with you. I played the single player part, enjoyed it, played about 20 hours, never touched it again. And I actually liked the multiplayer too, but I didn't like the going through doing the missions and going into the dungeons. Like that wasn't that interesting. I don't care about loot. So, no, that was cool. They announced today there's going to be some new classes. And by classes, which I was really excited about, I thought they actually meant new classes. They mean new subclasses.
Like history and English and
new class. Boom, boom, boom. But no, new subclasses to the Titan, Warlock, and Hunter classes. And there's going to be 4 new planets. I don't know if that means that there will only be 4 planets or they're adding 4 additional. I hope it means they're adding 4 additional planets because, like, that was a problem I had with Destiny 1 too, is like, it was Destiny 1 as well, is that it was supposed to let you go to tons of places.
Yeah.
And then in the end, it was like, oh, you went to these 4 places.
Got
And it was like the Moon, Earth, Mars, and Venus. And there may have been a 5th place. But it wasn't very, like, you didn't have, like, a lot of exploration or discovery. It was just a basic, go through this area, shoot things.
Real quick, Donna, have you heard the whisperings of them doing after when they're done with the Final Fantasy VII remake? They're talking about remaking Final Fantasy 1
Again?
No, to make it look like modern games, because that was the guy who runs Square Enix said something about how he would like to
Final
see that.
Fantasy 6!
It-
I want to see those characters.
Yeah, well, that's what they're talking about. Either Final Fantasy 1 or 6. Like, those are the two they were...
I think 6 is the one I want to see the most. With I just love those characters. Like, I want to see them in 3D.
I
But
actually just want to see Final Fantasy 16.
yeah, that'd be cool. I don't know if we'll see that.
I think that there's enough momentum going forward. I mean, going from Final Fantasy 15 that they could probably make a really great 16.
Oh, for sure.
And I think, because like the whole nature of Final Fantasy is this changing beast, and I feel like Final Fantasy 15, especially since it was ripped from Kingdom Hearts boys' hands, thankfully, I think we're like at the end of that era of like Nomura influenced Final Fantasy to be like its own thing again. Because there's like the whole like weird like medieval Europe but Eastern spirituality with like weird side like of like the original Final Fantasies, and if you want any of that flavor you have to play Mistwalker games because that's where that flavor exists. And then there's like kind of
Which
that middle
they don't
era
make games anymore, pretty much.
Yeah,
So.
I don't know what they're doing. I would love to see something at E3 from them. That would be freaking mind blowing. But so I would love to see like the next 16 being made by a team that is not really afraid to like, where they're not like, how are we going to make our like Japanese high school boys love this and then also Western audience love this, where it feels like like half the game is way too anime and half the game is way too like Western.
Yeah.
Like I would rather have them just like say screw all of that and let's just make
what we want to make.
Make what we want to make. I would love to see the next Final Fantasy.
It's like a game that would be from the ground floor up because they wouldn't have like Versus 13 as like a platform to build on.
So I would be that is something that would make me very excited. We were talking about this on the way here. Like I'm looking forward to Kingdom Hearts 3 and the Final Fantasy 7 remake. I am in no way excited for them. Like any information that I get about them, I don't care. Like
they need to be like coming out in the next month for me to even want to hear about them again.
For Kingdom Hearts 3, they announced it 4 or 5 years ago, and they've just been dragging it on.
Yeah, it was supposed to come out this year, supposably, but they now pushing it back to next year. At some point, it's like, I don't care.
It's like, I don't really care right now. I'm sure I will want them when they come out, but I don't need, like, tidbits. Just do what you're going to do, and then I'll play it.
Let me be surprised by it,
I don't know how I would feel about another Final Fantasy 1 remake because Final Fantasy 1 is such a fun, such like a simple game.
It's short too. Like it's probably the shortest of the ones.
If they remade it,
it's short. I mean, it depends on how much you suck at it, but because it's not a very forgiving game.
It's pretty difficult.
Yeah,
you have to like grind to beat the first boss, if I remember correctly. So
no,
I had to grind a little bit to beat it.
I've beaten it like 5 or 6 times.
I've never beaten it.
I've beaten it on regular Nintendo, like the actual just like there's no tweaking to the system, like just the original game. I mean, I don't know if it was tweaked for America at all, but I mean like the remakes that are made a little bit more playably and stuff. Right. And then I've played, I think every single remake of Final Fantasy 1 I've beaten, except for the PSP one, and I think it's a cool game. I would be wary of it turning into like a full console experience because the world is very cool. It's the world of Final Fantasy 1, 2, 3, and 4, and somewhat 5 are very similar aesthetically. It's very much like kind of castles, but a little bit closer to Renaissance with like in ancient history there was science fiction.
Right.
So like there's like ruins of technology, but you're kind of in this. So it would be a fun world. It's a lot like the world of Final Fantasy 14. I would feel like it would be really hard for them to flesh that out compellingly.
Oh yeah, for
you know, you'd have to make they did it okay with Final Fantasy 3, but to make it like a console experience,
that'd be a whole project.
Yeah, because with the Final Fantasy 3 remake, they basically instead of nameless characters, they gave them backstories and they did added a little bit more character interaction, but then. So that was fine for like a handheld remake and stuff, but like a full console experience of Final Fantasy 1, I would be pretty wary of.
Because they were saying that the reason that they would make something like that is because they want to see like, hey, what if Final Fantasy was a brand new franchise that just came out, and they would want to see like gamers' reactions to it. It's just it's an interesting thought, but I don't see it happening.
If they could make it without being like overly complicated, like if they would be bold enough to make something simple, beautiful, magical.
Yeah.
Like all of the things that make the old Final Fantasy games similar to like a Studio Ghibli movie.
Right.
Like,
yeah.
You know, everything's like told very simply but very like weirdly at the same time. Like, I don't know. Like I was watching Nausicaa last night, and I know
Have you seen it?
Yeah,
it's very good.
And that Nausicaa is a huge influence on the original Final Fantasy. You know, if they could capture that. That would be great.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of old games becoming new again, what do you guys think of the announcement of Assassin's Creed? I think what's called is Egypt, and then there's another one I want to mention after that. But what do you guys think about that? It's supposed to have ship battles. It's supposed to be more story driven. They said that they're working around making side quests more interesting, similar to The Witcher.
Here's my thoughts on that.
Okay.
I'll end up playing it.
For sure, you're Assassin's Creed boy, man.
But it's not doing anything for the story. They say this is Assassin's Creed Origins, so this is an origin tale. It's not doing anything to drive their narrative forward. It's just, hey, here's another thing that looks cool to play.
Is that narrative worth?
Yeah, they need
driving forward at this point.
Yeah. But I've already become so invested in it. I want to
Well, the last few games haven't had connecting narrative though.
Yeah, but
they need to honestly
need to make
reboot.
It go somewhere. Get us interested in it again.
They need to reboot and then somehow make another character like Desmond Miles because they killed him off. Spoiler: Assassin's Creed 3.
So stupid with that.
Yeah, it's like, hey, we're working towards this thing to make him become an assassin. Nope. Bam! I actually don't know how he died, but I assume it's stupid.
He's still in the number 4, right? He's he's in a body bag.
Oh, really? Oh, okay. Are you joking about that?
No, I'm serious. There's a lot of security footage of him in a body bag.
Oh, it's so dumb.
So he's not technically not in the
It's
game.
just like you work towards something and then it's like, nah, we're gonna kill
that.
Oh man, a ghost. But I think it could be interesting. I'm gonna wait and pass judgment when it comes out.
I was like, man, they could have made the game so interesting, and then they working their way up to the future,
Yeah, that was what everybody was hoping, and then it's like, nope.
We're gonna give you an origin story.
And then they went. Assassin's Creed 4 was back 100 or so years to the dad or the grandfather of the guy at the beginning of Assassin's Creed 3 or something like that.
Yeah.
It's dumb. Their other game though,
Black Flag was a lot of fun though.
Yeah, I didn't have the patience to play it, but I
hear
know
things
good.
like shit battles. I'm already turned off.
It's supposed to be cool. When I hear shit battles, all I think of is how much fun Sea of Thieves would be if I could get 5 friends together, because that game looks silly and fun.
How much fun it would be if they actually released it.
They'll release it. They for sure will. I actually would be surprised if it's this year.
Here's what I mean by shit battles doesn't sound fun.
Yeah.
I'm sure that Assassin's Creed Egypt will play mechanically well and be fun because of how bad it's been recently.
Yeah.
So I'm sure they will really buckle down on making a good experience. So when I hear shit battles in an Assassin's Creed game, it's the same. It triggers the same reaction to base building in a Fallout game, where it's like I'm sure I will have fun exploring the world, playing the main game, and then here's going to be this side thing that you have to do, but it's a whole different system. It's probably not quite as fun. And it's just gonna you know what I mean? If Assassin's Creed Egypt is amazing, and then you have 5+ hours of shit fights that you have to do.
Hopefully it won't be that bad.
Yeah, see what I mean?
Because that's why Assassin's Creed 3 kind of lost me, is because that game was all over the place. You had to hunt animals and do tons of other garbage, and I didn't want to do any of that.
In Assassin's Creed 3 weren't fleshed out very well.
I heard 4 was actually good.
4 was good, but in 3, everything was clunky. They're just experimenting with all this stuff. It's hard to
And
control.
they made you have to do it. 3, I loved the first 6 hours of 3, the thing that people hate, the intro.
Yeah.
But the game itself, the game that you actually get to play once everything starts getting to the present time and you're playing the game, that's where I started being like, I don't want to play this.
See, for me, 3, I liked the character, but I didn't like the story.
I thought I was gonna love it. The Revolution.
2, 3.
No, we're talking about the Revolutionary War one, not Assassin's Creed 2 Revelations. Because I said Rebel. But anyways, the second game they announced this week is the one that I'm watched, The Crew. No, I'm just joking. They also announced that. Did you guys play The Crew?
No.
It's stupid.
Far Cry 5?
Far Cry 5, which is supposed to be the only thing that kind Western, but I'm hoping it's like a modern day Western because it's supposed to be set in Montana, so it still could be that. It still could be like a Western story. I don't need a sheriffs and cowboys and Indians unless they know how to do it well. And as we saw with Primal, I didn't get a chance to play it. It looked okay, but I heard it wasn't that great. And when you go back that far and you take out a lot of stuff, and then you
it's
force
weird
people to
you
play.
say that. I let my buddy borrow my PlayStation 4, and he went out immediately and bought Far Cry Primal. He's like, "This is the best game ever."
Has he played Far Cry 4?
I don't think so.
Far Cry 4 had co-op and all this fun stuff.
When I read that it's like a Western and all that kind of stuff, is this Far Cry 5 or Far Cry Western?
I think it's Far Cry 5. I think they're naming it 5. I think somebody said that. I mean, the Far Cry series is great. You played 3 and Blood Dragon, both great games. I played some of 3, some of Blood Dragon, and I loved 4, and I beat it, which was one of my favorite games. I didn't buy Primal. You play any of them?
No, I haven't played any of them.
They're all pretty good games. I haven't played 2. That was okay. That was an annoying game, but a lot of people love it.
Yeah.
It is probably my favorite Ubisoft franchise, as long as they keep co-op. If they take co-op out, I don't know if I'll get this one, because that was the favorite thing is you get in the gyrocopter, you got a friend hanging up on the rope.
Had some Grand Theft Auto.
It's just so stupid and fun, and it's like you're going around hunting animals. And PETA loves it.
PETA loves it.
Primary PETA game.
I would be really bummed if in the Far Cry Western, if it's like really like an 1800s Western or something.
Yeah.
I mean, that'd be fine, but
If they
as
make
long
it
as there's
fun.
as long as there's a sweet bow and arrow.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Yeah, there needs to be a bow and arrow, and if they're gonna go that old, they need to find a way to make weapons fun. Because like Battlefield 1 is a great game, but the weapons in that game are really boring because it's World War One. So
Yeah.
like you can't enhance any of your weapons, and after you do ranking enough times, it's like, well, the game's fun, but there's no loop.
Yeah.
And those games like shooting games need some type of loop to keep you wanting to play, or else, because the stories are never that, compelling.
Right.
Because they're open world games, so you just like kind of do whatever you want, and then whenever you want to get back to doing whatever you're supposed to be doing,
Yeah.
do that. Any other news that you guys heard about this week? I feel like there was a lot of other little stories, but
What did I hear about? Final Fantasy 14 in anticipation of the new expansion. Speaking of jobs and classes and subclasses,
yeah.
is because they're ending PlayStation 3 support.
Okay.
So you will
Bummer.
no longer be able to play it. They're offering free upgrade to PlayStation 4, which unfortunately I don't have. But they are making it free to play on PlayStation 3 until the end of June.
Oh.
They need to release that game on Xbox One. I still don't understand why it's not.
I-
All the other Sony, like the
Why
DC
is that?
game,
What-
like all
it
these
seems
other-
like a logical move because
I
Final
read,
Fantasy.
like,
at
release it
some
anywhere,
point
yeah.
I read that it was Microsoft's problem.
But now that they
then-
released open, like you could play with anyone, so
Yeah.
that doesn't make sense anymore. Once they did that, a lot of people were like, "Oh, why don't they release Final Fantasy 14 there?" I think the biggest thing that they see is like, "Oh, there's only 20-some million Xbox One owners,
Yeah.
so why should we do it?" But
I think
I
that
I
would
would
still
play
get
it
it
because
at
I'm
another
not
5
going to
million.
buy. It's the one. I really enjoy Final Fantasy 14, even though I'm not a huge MMO or loot grinding person. I do like the way that it works, and it looks great, and it's great music. And it's a fun, enjoyable MMO in a cool world, which is the main reason to play. Because an MMO is basically a dress-up simulator. Like
yeah, you just get loot all
You make
the
a
time.
character, you try and like make your character look cool, get stronger and better. Like so, I know that World of Warcraft is like a fun game. I've played it for a long time, but
Yeah, it's fun if you
but
have a lot
I
of
don't
friends.
love Blizzard like art direction, anything. So it's like they're hard to keep me playing because I don't think it looks cool. So it's like 14, I'm really interested in, but.
because
So I might log back in since
To
I
free.
because I have it on PlayStation 3 and
Yeah,
it's
might
free.
as well.
So all of the 3 people that watch us, if
Yeah.
you can try and find me on.
There we go, man.
I think I'm on the
John.
Leviathan server, so
We're looking at
play
you.
my-
Just respond in chat below.
my noob. I think I'm like a level 50 paladin or
for the
something,
name
so-
Dank/Donna.
Dank/Donna is
Dank Donna.
Dank Donna. Donna Gustus.
Because I think that wasn't a lot of people on the 360 played Final Fantasy 11. Didn't
I played
they?
Final Fantasy 11 on 360.
I know you
Yeah.
two did, so
Yeah.
that's like half their fan base.
Yeah, there we go.
No, it just seems like a pointless thing. I think at this far into the life cycle of that game and the console, it's unlikely it will ever happen. But it seemed to me
I
like a
remember
missed
reading somewhere
opportunity.
that it could happen.
It
Recently,
could if
like, recently
14
as in like in the last 6 months or something. I read something like that. But-
Yeah, it's an interesting thing. I feel like it's got the same probability as the Nintendo Switch Virtual Console does, which is
Like 90%.
no. I don't think a Nintendo Switch Virtual Console is going to happen, man.
Yeah.
I'm hoping I'm proven wrong at the C3, but just the fact is they know everybody wants it and they're not talking about it,
Well, 'cause
and they could sell the games piecemeal.
If they
for way
release
more.
virtual consoles, they can't keep putting out these classic editions of their old consoles.
Yeah, or if they release Virtual Console and they force you to buy the same game again, people are gonna be like, "Wait, why am I paying? I already bought this on a Virtual Console twice."
It's all about money.
So what they'll do instead is they'll release the games piecemeal, sell them separately, and be like, "Well, you don't have these piecemeal games. You can't we can't track your Virtual Console games because we don't have a Virtual Console anymore.
Yeah.
Nobody can be angry at them, right?"
Right.
So I don't know, man. I would love to segue and just talk about Nintendo more. I know Fire Emblem comes out tomorrow. You said you're interested in trying that. It sounds
Comes out on
interesting.
what?
3DS. Nintendo Switch had Thumper. That looks like a cool game. Came out today. It's like a metal.
Hey, I've been thinking about this a lot lately. Nintendo Switch. So I think the Wii's biggest downfall was the fact that it had so many like indie developed games. Not indie, but just
No, their biggest downfall is they didn't have that many games, man.
on
Like,
the Nintendo Wii. It had
oh,
a
the
bunch
Wii.
of,
Oh,
like-
Wii. Oh,
yeah,
sorry. I was thinking Wii U.
It had like all these like not. Like,
Oh, you're
kinda-
talking about shovelware.
Kind of shovelware,
Yeah.
basically. Do you think that the
Eminem
Switch,
go-kart racing?
Yeah.
Do you think the reason the Switch is so slow to
No.
release games that
No,
they're afraid of that
no.
happening again?
We actually talked
Really?
about this exact
On the way
thing
up here,
on the
yeah.
way up here.
Yeah?
Because you don't. It's like it's a weird market. I think there's in game criticism, journalism, etc.,
Yeah.
and then also just comment boards, fanboys, and all that kind of stuff. There's just not a lot of critical thinking that happens.
Yeah.
Because it's a bit of a conundrum when you think about it. You're like, okay, I want a big library on my console.
But you don't want it filled with crap on
Because
Steam.
you like part when you're like, oh, I'm gonna buy a console. There's no games on it, but it's like that's why I have like such a weird mixed feeling about the Wii U, because the Wii U has a handful of really great games,
Yeah.
and I never felt like I had a lot of options on the Wii U, but I was never disappointed with the games that I did own.
Yeah, they
So
were
it's
great
like-
Nintendo games.
It's like that's kind of good, but I know one of the big criticisms of the Wii U is that there's no games on it, whereas the Wii had a million games and 5 of them were good.
Yeah.
And it's like I still got I got hundreds of hours on the Wii. Like I played
Yeah, there was great
Xenoblade,
games.
I played Twilight Princess, I played Last Story, which was amazing.
Both the
I
Mario
played
Galaxies were great.
Played Mario Kart, I played
Yeah.
Donkey Kong, freaking Returns, which is amazing.
Yeah, it was a great console.
those there is hours and hours of awesome games in the Wii.
And they had the virtual
the
console,
Wii itself felt like such a Walmarty hunk
Yeah.
of junk because of how much Eminem go-kart racing there was.
Yeah.
So it's like
I love that
Whereas-
it's a real thing.
the Wii U feels a little bit more classy in a sense because
Yeah.
there's less junk on it, unless you go on their online store and then it's a junk.
Oh, yeah, their online store is pretty bad.
But it wasn't quite good enough. So that's kind of like a weird allure with the Switch because yeah, I don't know.
Well, they're releasing roughly 2 games a week, so I think Nintendo has an idea to make sure that they always have at least 1, if not 2 games every
Yeah.
week. But I would totally agree with everyone where it's like, oh, they're trying to hold it back, do quality control, except for, like I mentioned a couple weeks ago, the developer of Axiom Verge, a game that's really good, said he's ready to go, could release on Switch whenever, but Nintendo won't respond to him. Whereas, a week or 2 ago, Nintendo released a game called Constructor 3 or Constructor something. It was a 1997 PC game. And then, early on when the console released, maybe 2 or 3 weeks later, they released, Cul-de-Cept and, a free-to-play game from phones. They've also released occasional, just phone games. So it's the quality control's not really there. They say it is, but it's not, because there's still crappy games coming onto it. Not in the waves that it was for the Wii, but it's
Do you think it's going to become oversaturated?
if I were a developer, just because the Switch is such a cool idea, and I think people are going to keep buying it because they can take it anywhere with them, I would want to put my game on it, especially right now where every single person like myself wants to buy something. I downloaded the Disgaea 5 demo, and I was like, I just want to play something. I played it was terrible. I can't play that game. But if Street Fighter 2 was only $20, I would buy it. I don't even like playing fighting games, but I just want to play something.
Nintendo needs a Phil Spencer type.
Yeah, they need
somewhere in their ranks. I like Reggie, but
Yeah.
I just think that Nintendo is so out of touch.
Yeah, they need a company managing their company.
They don't know how good it because Axiom Verge, if I was to get it on a console I own now, it would probably be the Vita.
Yeah,
but
it's good.
But it's on
Portable
Xbox.
game.
It's I can count on their. They should.
Yeah.
They
should
should
just
be
let it.
smart. They should
Yeah.
have someone that is a gamer, not some
He was a
business
Pizza
man.
Hut. He was the Pizza Hut CEO. That was what Reggie did.
Yeah.
And I know it's not just him. It's Nintendo of Japan and all these other companies. But they need somebody who actually plays games, not a guy who's just a big guy who was a salesman who is there for show.
Yeah.
They need these games. I would rebuy Rogue Legacy, even though I already played it to death on Vita. I just want something to play. And realistically, I'm not interested in ARMS, and that's the next big game in June.
What is ARMS again?
It's a fighting game. It looks okay, but it's $60, and you got the stretchy arms, and you have to punch. And there's 6 or 7 characters, so it looks like it's a very piecemeal game. They just had a big Nintendo Direct back yesterday.
Yeah. No, I saw that.
I'm not super interested in Splatoon 2. The first one looked cool, but I don't know if I really want to get that. The games I do want, like Second Detsetsu Collection, aren't even guaranteed for the US yet.
Yeah.
So
That would be amazing.
it's just like, give us games, please.
Yeah.
Don't make me feel like I already do feel like an idiot for buying it right when it came out.
Well,
But
are they having a direct for their E3 or?
yeah, they're not doing they don't do stage
So
presentations. So
hopefully they'll
hoping.
announce something because it would be smart to release Mario before holiday season.
I almost
Or
bought
during.
Minecraft again, and I don't even really like playing Minecraft that
Yeah.
much because I just want to play something. They need to do something about that because I have bought a lot of games. I almost bought Tumbleseed, and then I thought about that again. I'm like, I don't really want to play that either. Like, I just want there to be more choice. But anything else you guys want to talk about before we wrap up?
No, well, real quick, have you guys been keeping up with the series of articles on Polygon about gaming in Cuba?
No, those are weird. Well, I mean, it's
It's
cool, but I mean,
interesting.
like, what?
It's
I didn't get why it was coming out.
I just found it interesting because I read one. I jumped into one yesterday, and
The one about how it costs a month's salary?
Yeah, but they're saying how the people buy video game consoles over there even if they're broken. Like it's just like it's like the currency of the realm for gamers over there is video game consoles.
They released another article today about something in Cuba as well, a totally different one from
About
yesterday.
how their like developers are where the government influences all the creative development that happens.
So do they have like staff over in Cuba, or are Cuban people like sending them emails, or like what's going on? Like,
Well, you can travel to Cuba now.
really?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. Oh well. Anyway,
Well, if
so
you read
it's,
the articles, the guy talks about it. He's like, yeah, I came out of my hotel room and I met so and so, but I couldn't interview them without the government's permission.
oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's cool, but there are so many places in the world where we could talk about game development.
Yeah,
it just seems
it's
so
just interesting because we
random
have
that-
such easy access to all this stuff, and then you don't think that there's like
in Brazil, games cost more than $100, and most people live below poverty here. So it's like, how do you? Like, I had a buddy when I was living over in China he was a Brazilian dude. He owned lots of games because his family was super rich, but most people can't afford games. It's very similar. That's why Steam put like a block on letting you gift games to people recently. I don't know if you guys read about.
Really?
Yeah, they used to let you gift games to anyone, which allowed people in like India or something to sell games so the people in poor countries could buy it because in India the games are super cheap. But they stopped letting you do that for if like the game's cheaper here. You can't gift it to someone else.
That's lame.
So, so it's like that thing is real. That's a real thing. In Australia, games cost $100. Like, we are very lucky here. Us in Japan have like all the games for cheap, and everyone else pays a lot of money. Like a lot of money. Like Switch in Canada is $500 or something like that, or $450. So yeah, it's a really interesting thing. I think Cuba is definitely an interesting place to talk to game developers. I just think, why aren't you talking to them in Russia or like the Middle East? How crazy would game develop? I'm sure there's game developers over there, and what is their life like? You know, like so. I just think it sounds interesting. I was wondering why Cuba.
It's made me curious.
Because Cuba has been like it's
one of the few communist countries, right? It's just Cuba.
Cuba's like Cuba's like. Cuba's been like in North Korea. Like you can't go there. You can't take pictures there. Like
some people still go there. Yeah,
what I'm saying is, it's like a land of
you're not supposed
relative
to,
mystery we're now allowed to go to. So it's like that's probably why it's in Cuba.
And it's cool. I definitely think it's cool. It was so surprising to me.
Yeah.
One last thing I did want to bring up because I was just thinking about this week and I read lots of reviews about it. About two things real quick. Did you guys read about The Surge? Looks kind of cool. It's a third-person Dark Souls-like sci-fi game.
Oh, I've seen that before, yeah.
It looks so cool. I am hoping to get it on sale when it drops down in price because I've heard
it's not out yet, right?
No, it came out this week.
Oh.
And then the other game that I wish I liked fighting games so I could play it is Injustice 2.
I've been hearing a lot about Injustice 2. I've heard that was good.
I've heard it's really cool.
I bought the first one.
Really?
It was okay. Not my favorite.
I just hate fighting games. Like, I know I'll get it, and I know I won't want to play it.
If I bought it for anything, it'd be for the story because I'm kind of a comic book nerd.
Well, it's a 6-hour story. That's like a good story for a fighting game.
I mean, it's got great facial animations, apparently.
Yeah, did you guys see the scene that they were talking about?
Yeah.
The bubblegum chewing scene with Harley Quinn? That is so crazy. I wonder how much work went into just that animation of bubblegum chewing.
Well, do you think that they put all the work into it before or after the Mass Effect fiasco?
Way before. The games were in development for a long time. I don't think that they could have fixed that in 2 months.
They're like, no.
Mass Effect, like I said, it was like the B team of EA, or maybe you said that, but somebody mentioned it's the B team of BioWare. Like, not that these are not good programmers, they're excellent people, but it wasn't their top tier. Like, I actually think I think Dragon Age Inquisition, which is and this could be just pure memory nostalgia, but even that's a 3-year-old game, that kind of looked better or equal. Looks like your camera shut off. You want to turn it on one last time too?
Yeah, you
Do
can
a
keep
wrap
talking.
up?
I mean, I'm just I'll fade it into a picture or something.
Oh, okay. Yeah, but Dragon Age Inquisition, I feel like was actually. I know you haven't played Andromeda yet, but whenever you get a chance, you should just try it out if you got EA access or something.
Whatever, it's real cheap.
But just so you can see, because I don't know if you played Dragon Age Inquisition, but my personal opinion is Mass Effect doesn't look that much better. Maybe the scenery does. Sorry,
Yeah.
the locales. But we've all had a long day. I think we're all pretty tired. We got E3 coming up that sold out to the public. Can you guys believe that?
Yeah. That
3 million people.
It's like $250 a pop.
Yeah, is it 3 million or was it a much lower number, 300,000 or something like that? I know it's a pretty big number of people that sold tickets to.
Insane.
It's probably
It's
maybe
funny.
it's not even thousands.
It's funny too that like more and more it seems to be like a really phoned in event for a lot of companies.
Yeah,
Because it's obviously insanely popular.
Yeah.
I want to just get this number right because I feel like a terrible person if I'm way.
Don't a lot of the conferences happen at outside venues though? How do people get into those?
15,000. Okay, so I was way
3 million.
3 million.
People.
But 15,000 tickets. They sold them out, man. Good job to them. I've heard it's not even very fun to go anymore.
Bravo.
But
Kudos.
especially since you can watch all of the big things on your computer and you can't go to those unless you have special passes anyways. So it's like you're going to go there. One of the best things I ever heard was on a recent podcast. You go there to wait in line for several hours to play a game you can buy in 2 months.
I hear a lot of like press complaining about this too.
Yeah.
Like it's gonna make because it's already bad for them.
A lot of them just go to the special press stuff anyways, though. They don't need to wait in line to play those games. Just don't play them. You know, those games are coming out in 2 months. Don't play them.
Playing like yeah.
Okay, well, hopefully we'll be back next week to talk about some games. Maybe we'll do some E3 predictions soon. I don't know how we'll predict them, but we can do that for funsies.
Also, they announced today South Park Fractured
Oh!
Butthole is coming out.
No,
in
that was
October.
yesterday or 2 days ago.
2 days, yeah.
October, man. I'm super excited. I'm
Finally.
hoping it's good. I'm a little
I'm
concerned.
hoping it's good too because they keep moving the date. Now this date popped up and
Yeah,
it's
first-
solid, and they're saying that they want to release the game before the year's over so it can be added onto this year's sales. So hopefully we don't have a Mass Effect situation on our
No,
hands.
I've heard that it's been pushed back just because of the creators of South Park.
Yeah, they pushed the first one back like 3 times.
Because they like to do a lot of rewrites, and so I
got it.
don't think they're constantly like redeveloping the game systems. I think it's
Yeah.
really
Just
the
writing.
the story content stuff.
The thing I'm concerned about is, I love the first game. I think it's one of the most funny RPGs I played on 360. Thing I'm most concerned about with this one is they changed the battle system, and not that I was married to that original battle system, but tactical RPGs are a totally different thing than turn-based RPGs, and
Yeah.
I
Is
don't.
this turn-based?
This is a tactical. The previous one was like a turn-based Super Mario RPG-esque game where timed buttons did certain attacks.
Yeah.
This one is grid-based tactical RPG.
Really?
Yeah, so I'm concerned. It makes things different now that you have 4 party members or 3 party members in your character versus just one partner. But I'm just curious how it will play.
Yeah.
Because it could be really boring. Really excited. It should be really funny. Did you both watch the trailer?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so dumb. I love it. All right. Well, we will talk to you later. Super BS out.
Hey everyone, venture into the pop culture cosmos today, where you'll hear our conversations on different topics within the world of movies, TV, video games, comic books, technology, board gaming, and more. You'll also get a taste of some of our other shows within the cosmos as well. So come on and join us each week as we delve into the pop culture cosmos.
Welcome to the Pop Culture Cosmos.
That to us people that can feel things, it hurts.